It's Murdo Show, and I'm here today interviewing a friend of mine that I've known for many, many years. It's Aaron Copeland. So, tell me, Aaron, I know you've been away from Paris for many years. Tell me a little bit about your travels, your journeys, some of your favorite places that you've been.
Well, when I lived in 2011, I went to New Jersey. Stayed there for 2 years. I love the East Coast. I love the culture. In fact, you can get a slice of pizza and a Coke for $1.75, at least you could back then. Stayed on the Delaware River, could see Center City, Philadelphia. Worked at Chili's in Mount Laurel for 1 year. That's where my son was born, in New Jersey. So I got a lot of love for New Jersey. However, Philadelphia seems pretty dangerous to walk around at. There's a lot of Muslims out there. I don't do that. And other than that, that's New Jersey. But one of my favorite places is the western part of the Midwest, like South Dakota. Sioux Falls, South Dakota is a gem. They call it a big city with a small town feel, which it is, about 250,000 people or something like that, I think. You can walk everywhere. They got the Sioux River. You can walk along that in most parts of the city. Very clean, low crime. Actually, a large Muslim population. Very tolerant of Muslims. And in Minneapolis, the thing with South Dakota, though, is it's a red state, and you can't get much benefits out there if you're needy. A miskin in Arabic. And so I'm a miskin, and I traveled to Minnesota. Actually, I had a dream, and I saw. Okay, so when I became Muslim, I saw a dream soon afterwards where I saw a trash can knocked over, and it was like balled up pieces of paper, and either the paper turned into a bird, a beautiful bird, and flew to the windowsill, or a bird came by. I think one of the trash turned into a beautiful bird, and it went and sat on the windowsill, and it was like reddish, orangish, and it was very animated, and it was very vivid, and it looked at me and it nodded like to follow it, and it flew out the window, and I was like, okay, well, I need to do something. I need to get out of here. So I went to Wisconsin, Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Eau Claire.
And I was so zealous, and I thought, I want to share this with people. People just don't know, and of course, there's a type of wisdom and approach you got to have with people, and patience, and I learned that. But this one guy, his name is Matthew, and we call him Hamza now. He listened to the Quran, and he would get so overwhelmed, he'd be like, oh, that's enough. And I was like, this guy's never going to be Muslim, you know what I mean? But this shows that everything's in Allah's hands. Allah guides whom He wills, how He wills. And we do not guide whom we love, necessarily. So he actually became Muslim, the guy I least expected. And then he moved to Minnesota, and he was you gotta come out here, man, it's great. You got the benefits, you got healthcare, this and that, and there's tons of Muslims. So I went to Minnesota, and just like that, healthcare, food stamps, gotten sober living, the state pays for it. There's no excuse to be homeless out there, especially when it's like -15 sometimes in the winter. A lot of homeless guys drink whiskey and die out there, but that's because they don't want help. But so Minnesota is my favorite place overall. But if Montana and South Dakota weren't so red,
yeah,
they're beautiful places too. And gyms, really, the economy is always good out there. It seems like, and very easy to get a job, and it's beautiful. But the one place I want to go that I haven't been yet, that I think is another gem, if anything happens in Minnesota, would be Maine. That's where I'm going if anything happens in Minnesota. For some reason, research that they got tons of help out there. They got a low homeless population, so they got all kinds of help just to give away, and just low population in general, and a low crime rate, and great seafood, and light towers. I've never seen I've seen. I want to see the main light tower. You know what I mean? That's like official.
Yeah,
that's it.
That'll be great. Well, tell me a little bit about Islam.
All right, so Islam, we believe in the number one thing is to worship one God. We believe the 6 pillars of faith is to believe in Allah, and everything about him that he's revealed about himself, to believe in all the previous scriptures, the Torah, the Psalms, the Injil, which is the gospel, but in their original forms. We believe that they are corrupt now, and they have been, because God says in their own book, he condemns them. He says, how can you say you are wise, you have the law of God with you, when the lying pens of the scribes have turned it into a lie? And he says in the Quran how the Jews would change the words of the places, and this is a sign of major disbelief. They don't really believe. So anyways, we believe in Allah, the scriptures, all the prophets, and not all the prophets were Jew. You got Balaam, his name in the Bible, and Noah wasn't a Jew. Abraham wasn't a Jew. His son Isaac was, but his son Ishmael was an Arab, the father of the Arabs, which is the bloodline to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And so Allah, the scriptures, the prophets, we believe in the angels, we believe in the divine decree, the good and the bad of it, and we believe in the day of judgment. And the worst sin is pairing partners with God. It's the only unforgivable sin if you die upon it without repentance, especially if you know. There might be an excuse of ignorance. There's a narration that says people that were in a time where the message wasn't available and stuff like that, that they'll be tested in the hereafter. God will give them a test, and if they pass, then they'll go to the hereafter, the good hereafter, paradise. And so that's the main beliefs of Islam. Now, the acts of worship, the 5 pillars of worship is the Shahada, which is the testimony of faith first. Everything that encompasses everything, and then the prayer is the second most important, and then fasting and Ramadan, that's obligatory, and then Hajj, the pilgrimage, and Zakat, the obligatory charity, which is 2.5% of your income. If you have to meet a certain threshold. If you're poor, you don't pay it. You don't have to pay it. You have to meet a certain threshold and have a certain amount of money in the bank for over a year or something like that, a certain amount of time, and then it becomes obligatory on you to pay the 2.5% charity, and that goes to the poor Muslims, and it goes to poor non-Muslims as well. That's called Sadaqah. That's also charity. So yeah, that's the basics of Islam. And we believe in Tawheed, means the oneness of God. We believe in His names and attributes. We believe in His lordship and His right that He's the only legislator, is one of them. And we believe that He's the only one worthy of worship. We only sacrifice to Him. We only pray to Him. We only ask from Him. We do everything for Him and Him alone. So yeah, that's the basis. Yeah.
Right. So you're going back to Minnesota in the near future. You're in the Minneapolis area, aren't you?
Yeah. I've been in Oka County, which is part of Minneapolis. Columbia Heights. Lived in Anoka a little while, and now I'm going to St. Paul. I'm going to have a home in St. Paul when I touch down. So you got to take it to St. Paul. Yeah. Twin cities like DFW and the DFW area, Dallas, Fort Worth.
From everything that you tell me, it sounds like Minnesota takes care of people better than nearly any other state.
Oh yeah, like my health insurance. If I go to the hospital here, they pay for it. At least 3 months out. That's what I hear. I've been to the hospital before, but they have paid for my entire stay for 2 weeks in Oklahoma. They don't leave their people hanging. I got a housing advocate waiting on me. I'm still in the system. I got a peer support specialist that calls me like every day or every other day. That cares about me. Like, oh man, that's great. You're seeing your brother. You're doing this. You're doing that. They're really sincere. It seems like, and happy for me. And yeah, it's good people up there. And if you're an addict, all you got to do is go to detox, and they'll put you in a place. They're not going to kick you out on the street, especially in the wintertime. And if you choose to be homeless, you can sleep on the train, and the cops come on every now and then. They don't mess with you as long as you're not smoking a cigarette or doing drugs on the train. They won't mess with you. Yeah.
Well, Aaron, you have a Rumble channel. You say, is it possible that you're soon going to maybe be uploading some videos over time?
Yeah, inshallah. God willing, I'm going to get more active into that because you've motivated me and you motivated me talking about how you can earn money and basically, and I need to make a living.
Yeah, and you can reach out and build an audience and teach people and instruct them
you
and
can do a
share.
lot of good with it. Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
that could be good.
Yep.
So I want to thank you, Aaron Copeland, for being a guest on the show tonight.